Here at Inside Fighting, we're huge fans of the NFL, and we've partnered up with DraftKings, an official partner of the NFL, to bring you guys an incredible offer. Right now, if you're a new customer, you can bet $5 of your own money, and you get $150 of bonus bets instantly. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code INSIDEFIGHTING. And if you're already signed up for DraftKings, like myself, you have a no-sweat bet where you get your bonus bets back if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. And if you're a fan of multiple teams and you want to bet on all of them, you can combine multiple bets together for a chance at an even bigger payout. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry, you can still get in on all the fun doing DraftKings daily fantasy sports with the DraftKings Fantasy app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers who bet $5 get $150 of bonus bets instantly. That's $5, you get $150 of bonus bets instantly. All you got to do is use promo code INSIDEFIGHTING.
Tell you something about Andrew. This is my boy right here. You disrespect him, you're disrespecting me.
Inside Fighting. Shout out to Inside Fighting.
Welcome to the Fight Season Podcast. Here with Jesse Rowe. Got Robby Clark online through Zoom. What's cracking, guys?
What's up?
Going on?
Not much, man. You're in your kitchen.
I'm in my dining room kitchen.
It looks pristine. Listen, your kitchen, dining room, whatever, it always looks pristine, Robby. Seriously, I want to have a big meal there.
Keeps it clean. Well, you're going January 20th. You're going to be up here, so.
Yeah, I'm super stoked that UFC's coming to Toronto, Canada. And you know Drake's going to be in the house. Drake's always betting big on UFC, and there's no way he doesn't show up to that Canadian event. But listen, before we go on a big UFC Toronto Drake tirade, PFL bought Bellator. Huge. You're the business guy here. I wanted to, get your take on it. Just like, what do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's massive. I mean, Don Davis is the founder of PFL. For people who don't know, he's, he comes from the venture capital world. He's actually got a net worth of $500 million or $500 million, which it's always understated on Google. You can't really, sometimes it'll say someone's worth something and they're actually worth nothing. In this instance, where it says a guy like him's worth $500 million, he's probably worth, considerably more. And
really, you think Google's? You don't think you don't. Well, number one, you don't think Google's accurate, and you think they're lowballing him. I always think Google highballs people. So if they say he's worth,
it highballs a lot of entertainers and actors because they're less. Yeah. They're not as good with their money, and it lowballs a lot of business people because once they hit it, it's been saying Mark Cuban's worth the same amount for 5-10 years, and
he's worth more.
Well, it's tied up in assets too. They're collecting assets that you just can't measure. It's like
if you're worth over $100 million, you think about it, and they don't just keep their money in stocks, but if you just kept it in a stock, like you're worth $100 million, it bounces around 3 or 4% a day. Nobody that wealthy knows their true net worth because they're invested in so many different companies. He's got probably 50 different private equity ventures that. Some of them will pop off of 10.
Well, listen.
So you never know.
Yeah. So, sorry, but that's interesting what you said. Don Davis is worth $500 million.
We're missing the mark on it, though, because it's not just that. This is also it's a Saudi-funded deal. And if you want to talk about like richest people alive, I'm serious. Whoever you think the richest person alive is, they are not the richest person alive. It's whoever is funding these Saudi sports leagues. The amount of money that they have is unconscionable. You can't even begin to comprehend it. Like there is not even a number for it. That's why they're able to pay Ronaldo $200 million a year.
Yeah, it's a royal family. They're the most liquid country in the world. They've got more disposable income or cash. In the vaults than any other country, right? So they've been making a lot of money for a long time, and now they're spending it. That's the country to look out for, Saudi Arabia. But yeah, you're right on that. Don Davis has said he's gone from handing out checks and businesses to the past. However long he's owned it now, 5-6 years, something like that, to calling people, right? So he's been raising money for this venture, and he's fully invested. He's full time in this. Before that, he was kind of not retired, but investing in other businesses and saw a huge opportunity here. He was talking about on Ariel Helwani the market growing 10% a year. If you look at NFL or other sports, they're at about 2 to 3% a year. So it's the fastest growing sport in the world, which I've always known. I've said this back
Robby,
in 2002.
You're educating me on Don Davis. I've learned a lot more from you than I have. I had no idea who Don Davis was until I see him do a couple of interviews recently. I mean, likable guy. I know he wants to be like. He talks a lot. He didn't get off to the right foot with Nate Diaz. He pissed off Nate in camp by talking. he had some snide remarks on his first interview with Ariel, but I think he's trying to walk those comments back.
Well, he's up in the offer. He said the offer is $15 million now, but it's gonna have to be more.
Which is insane. It was 10, and now it's 15. I mean, like Nate just made $5 million, within a month off that. So you bring up a great point. $15 million. So Nate has a standing $15 million offer from Don Davis in the PFL. I mean,
I think it's worth more than that. If you're gonna set up a fight with Jake Paul and Nate, I think that's the starting. He's saying 15 publicly. So what are you gonna say? When the negotiations start, I think it's worth more than that. The amount of eyeballs that would bring to the sport, Nate's gonna do whatever Nate wants to do, but there's not been a true boxer. We'll call Jake a true boxer because he's taken challenges. If you just compare his record to others, he takes harder fights. Look at the people he's fought. Then people were like 8-0, or 10-0 even. And if he wins this next one against the real boxer, and it's going to be free. It's not a pay-per-view. But if he decides at the end of 2024 to fight, and if Nate decided, I don't think Nate's going to fight there. But if he decided, hey, look, I'll fight him, that fight's worth so much because it's not since James Toney, a real boxer, has come over to MMA, and we know what happened there, right? So for those who don't, Randy Couture submitted him pretty easily in like a couple minutes. But I think that fight's worth much more if Nate's going to put his name behind that. I think, and too, the fight's worth a lot of money. That brings a lot of hype, and it's it'd be a really good thing for PFL Bellator. So the fighters have to get paid if that were the case.
So Don Davis is publicly saying 15, but you and I both think it's worth at least double.
Yeah, I say make it an even 30 to 50 million. You're good to go because they can afford to lose money.
Sorry. Think about it though. It is a huge fight because, Nate's going to get him in a guillotine or some type of submission, some type of choke. Obviously, he's capable of knocking him out in MMA, but he's going to choke him out. So that's going to be memes, GIFs, T-shirts, posters. It's going to be viral. Probably.
Well, the problem that PFL and Bellator has,
lead up.
The problem PFL and Bellator has right now is they haven't made the quality of the fighters is right up there with the UFC,
right?
But they don't have the PR or recognition.
This is the point I wanted to get to. Yeah. Because I was going to go ahead.
Yeah, no, they need to pay for that. If you're going to bring in, big star names like that, then you got to pay for it, and you got to, if anything, it should be over investing on that angle or scoop up some good free agents. They got Ngannou, right?
Yeah.
But I think Ngannou's going to have another boxing match before.
But they need
Ngannou sucks. But go on.
They need Nate more than Nate needs them, and I think this is the problem. This is why they would overpay or not overpay. This is why they would pay that amount. Is because, if you really, my issue with some of the things that he was saying yesterday in his interview with Ariel, he was talking about how Fight Matrix ranks all these fighters, right? How there's 30 fighters, that they have something like 30 in the top 100 or something or 30% of the top 100% of fighters or something like that are in PFL and MMA. But here's the problem. And he mentioned how the top 5 were all UFC fighters, right? That's an important point because brand name recognition is always the top 5 fighters were all UFC fighters according to this Fight Matrix.
I would say the top 15, 20 fighters are all UFC.
And the problem that they have is name brand recognition. And who's the guy that has the knockout, the most knockouts in UFC? Matt something. God, what's his fucking name? He was saying how that when people are in the street and they say, "Oh, I fight in MMA," they don't ask you are you a PFL fighter? They don't ask you if you're an MMA fighter. They ask you, "Oh, are you a UFC fighter?"
Who said that's a good point? But who said that?
It's the guy that has the most knockouts. He's a middle lightweight.
What's he look like?
He's old. Matt Brown.
Yeah,
I don't think he has the most knockouts. Does he?
Welterweight. Yeah, he has
a lot of knockouts.
Yeah.
You're right. The problem with the PFL and Bellator right now is they want to disrupt the industry, which is going to be very, very difficult to do with the roots that the UFC is placed. And Don Davis is great. I got a lot of respect for him. But I'm not a big fan of the PFL league. To me, it's I get what he's saying. I don't like, basketball, but I watch March Madness. I was like, yeah, but that's still a team sport. I don't think, we're not going to pretend that this is a team sport in fighting. And I think anybody gets into fighting, it's like boxing, setting up a league in boxing. I get somewhat the tournament style, but, that's never really taken off. And the UFC did it on the early days. But I don't like, I like Bellator's lineup better because you're picking fights. They're going to stick to their leagues. I think it's weird. I think they got an uphill battle. I have a ton of respect for them. But if they're going to try to, take viewership away from UFC, which is kind of what you want to do, and they're going after international markets as well. But I think that they're going to need to get a bunch of bigger names. UFC's built a ton of stars, and they're so good with their social media across all angles. And Dana White's a star. Like, he's probably the biggest star in the UFC. So they've done such a good job on the media side, even with Bellator and PFL going there and backing. They've got to do some special moves to try to take that out.
They need more Cedric Doumbés in their league, because most of the fighters that we know of in PFL are ex-UFC fighters, which is, I think, the problem that PFL has, is that like most of their big names, other than like Kayla Harrison or Cedric Doumbé, are ex-UFC fighters, right? So they all built their brands off of UFC.
Listen, brother, no one knows who the fuck Cesar Doumbé is. I never heard that name in my life.
He's good. And he's very good.
Listen, I never cap. That's one thing you guys know me. If I really don't know who Cesar Doumbé is. Cedric. Nor do I want to know who he is. No disrespect.
So I'll give you an example, right? Like, you're saying this guy, we're going to talk about him later, but the guy who came in and submitted somebody in 4 minutes, or Chimaev, who's had, 4 fights in the UFC, and he's a star. You got the Ultimate Fighter show, but you got the Tuesday night Contender Series. The way they're able to build stars in a short period of time, that's what those other organizations are missing. It's not just the event, it's what's around it. And they have a ton of great fighters. A lot of those guys get beat with the best of the UFC, but they're not stars. Nobody knows who Kayla Harrison is, right? Like,
well, I do. People call her not a star. I think Kayla Harrison's a star. See, I don't know who the fuck Cedric Doumbé is.
He was a big kickboxer that joined the PFL. People said he should have gone to the UFC, but he joined PFL instead. It was like
Kayla Harrison's Olympian judo, and she's been beating ass for years. Dope. Yeah, she's dope.
But I don't think nobody there sells. We'll see how their first pay-per-view does, right? But on the ones they're investing a lot in, that's the same issue all of them got into with former events taking on retired UFC fighters, right? The issue is that really they're not a draw when it's too late typically, and these new stars are unable to build to a draw because they're unable to get them on the primetime shows and build those characters like they've done so well in the UFC.
Well, and Ngannou, supposedly the story is that he's going to fight Wilder in a mixed rules set. So it wouldn't even be a true MMA fight. It would be. This is the issue I have. Is like it's not gimmicky, but it's sort of bordering on it. And I think that
goes right to gimmicky. Like we'd all watch it, but like you already have UFC fighters fighting boxers and things like that. Now when you start to like take that away, oh sorry, I forgot my screen there.
Hey, the mixed rules thing is bullshit. It's stupid. And if Ngannou fights Wilder, they should just do regular rules. But
they can do some stupid thing. Yeah, sorry.
It's like when Rod Tang fought Demetrius Johnson. They were doing like Muay Thai one round and then MMA another round, and then it's just dumb.
Yeah, that was dumb. Yeah. But listen, we all know PFL and Bellator. No disrespect. Hopefully they don't bar me from covering the future events. I'm just being honest here.
I'm excited about it. I'm just skeptical. That's all.
But everyone knows the PFL and Bellator is the minor leagues of fighting. And that's why, a lot of big stars don't want to go fight there. And if you're going to bring in like a UFC legend like an Nate Diaz, you're going to have to give him, like Robby said, double. They're like Don Davis saying $50 million, it's going to have to be like $30 to $50 million, because that's the type of value he has. And if you're going to get a legend to fight in the minor leagues, like LeBron's not going to go play in the minor leagues. Give me a baseball
Well, no,
legend.
It's the same thing as going to the Saudi league.
Not unless he's getting that Saudi money.
That's exactly it. It's like Ronaldo going to a Saudi league, or
It's
like the golfers going to
yeah.
Live Golf. It's the same thing. It's the
so
same
if you're going to get them to go to PFL, the minor
Yeah.
leagues, Nate Diaz could get $15 million in the UFC. So why would he take the PFL's $15 million when he can get that in the UFC?
Right.
PFL is going to have to up their offer there. But listen, I have a question for you guys.
Well, and if and when they do, UFC will up their offer too. So
right.
Listen,
win-win.
Dana White is the best in the business. Everyone should be trying to emulate what he does. But I have a question for you, Robby. Who do you think has more money, Don Davis or Dana White?
That's a good one. Probably Don Davis.
I'm going with Dana.
That level, it's tough to say, man. You're right. It really depends on what your side ventures are doing from there. I don't really know. Like, I just see what.
I wonder what Google says.
Do we take into account his gambling losses or anything like that?
Or his gambling wins?
That's true. Yeah,
he's even.
If you trust me, man, if you're winning at casinos, they ban you eventually.
Yeah.
Well, he's banned from quite a few casinos.
Unless you're playing poker, that's the one game where you can win consistently where they won't ban you. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it says Dana's $500 million too. I think he got like $300 million from the deal. They're both gonna do okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Facts. I just want to know who's richer.
I think Don Davis is. I think he had to. He's like a bit. Dana built himself from UFC. Don Davis built himself from other stuff. So I don't know. That would be my guess.
Hey, well, listen, all that shit.
I'll tell you what's worth more: the UFC.
Yeah.
I will say this. Listen, all that shit we just talked. I'll probably still watch a couple of PFL Bellator fights. I mean,
Hell yeah, man! Listen,
that's
I'm
some
happy
good fighters.
for them. I think it's.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, I want it to do well. I'm just saying the things that they're up against. I'm happy for all the listen. I think they offer really good opportunities.
Hey, I will say this.
Fighters.
Sorry, Bellator has better fighters than PFL.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
Bellator has better fighters.
And I think there are too many like MMA fanboys that are like so excited by this, thinking that like, oh, this is the thing that's going to bring UFC down. You guys are kidding yourselves if those are your takes. I mean,
Nothing
come
will
on.
ever
No, they're
bring you-
stupid.
Yeah,
Come on,
nothing will
guys.
If
ever-
anything, it'll get more content. But
Yeah, it'll actually
it's
make
not gonna
you-
bring the UFC down.
It'll make UFC work harder to be better too. I mean, and they have more money. I mean, I don't know, maybe not more than the Saudi money, but they have better production quality and everything. So.
Well, the best we can hope for to finish it off there is that the fighters, it's a little more competitive and they make more money, and hopefully this gets some good headways to make it more competitive. But yeah, the UFC is still number one.
Hey,
and
Robby.
unless they screw up, it will be for a while.
Yeah.
If Don Davis is watching this, should he bring you in to handle the Canada division of PFL? Are they located out of Canada? Do they have a base out there?
Listen, I'm still waiting. Yeah, I would 100% be down. I'm still waiting on my call from Dana. I tried to apply at 15 years old.
Really?
Back in 14 years old in 2001. Yeah, I was trying to hit them up, but private company.
That's
If they didn't need me.
Hey, in
They thought they
2001, you were in the thick of your acting career, though, no? That was like when
Yeah.
you were.
So you're going to
on
auditions and also
multiple shows.
applying to be an intern at the UFC?
That's
I
hilarious.
was going to set with black eyes. That's what was happening. I was getting in trouble going to set with black eyes.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean, that happened once. Mostly it was bumps and bruises.
once.
I
I like it. That's hilarious. All right, listen. Hey,
That happened.
other big news that broke this weekend is that Floyd Mayweather's back. He announced another exhibition versus John Gotti Jr. And it's going to be their second fight. So it's like a rematch. Floyd's giving the kid a rematch. We all saw how the last one ended, right?
Yeah. My take on it is that it's
Well, for the fans who don't know, listen, the last one ended, there was a massive brawl in the ring.
right.
So they were trying to stop the fight. John Gotti Jr. kept trying to attack Floyd. And then the ref got in between them, and John Gotti Jr. was still trying to swing off Floyd. It was nuts. And then there's team versus team, full-on brawl that spilled into the stands.
Yeah, only Floyd Money Mayweather can plan a boxing exhibition during Super Bowl weekend and still probably pull in pretty good views. I expect it to do well, even though it's going to be. I saw people commenting that because it's Super Bowl weekend, it's like going to fall flat. I think it's going to. Kill it. I think there's a good storyline behind it.
It's actually going to do better.
The second time around.
Well, at least it's going to sell out, and there'll be a lot of stars.
Yeah.
Because it's
I think that Cap's right on that. Maybe the gate. I think Floyd's got some rich super fans that like seeing him beat people up because he beat Gotti twice in that fight. Once in the ring, and then once after when he tried to brawl him, and Floyd still got him. So,
You saw that, right?
I mean,
He landed on him. He landed on him before that brawl started. When we came up to him, he landed. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a
that's
right hook.
insane.
I'm all for Floyd having fun. I don't think it's a competitive fight. But Floyd doing his thing and getting out there and getting paid for exhibitions. I like that he does that because people still want to see the champ out there. People would we loved it when Tyson came back against Jones Jr. And I bet if Tyson said he was doing another exhibition, everybody would be down for it. So it's fun. I don't think it's competitive, but he's going to make some money on it and, be an okay fight to watch too.
Man, you don't sound too stoked on Floyd Mayweather coming back to fight John Gotti, Robby.
Not John Gotti. Like, listen, I have all the respect in the world but I watched the first fight, so
Yeah.
I'll watch it again. But it's like
It wasn't
Gotti didn't
competitive.
do anything. And then when he tried to turn it into a street brawl,
I
Floyd
love that.
still got him.
That was sick.
You know?
And then the bodyguards jumped
Yeah,
in.
I
Like,
know.
I'm actually
Well,
stoked for this
Floyd
fight.
beat them both.
No,
so hope he comes out and tries to like really fight like he did in the street fight, but Floyd's still gonna get him. I'm gonna watch it. I'm a Floyd fan, big Floyd fan. He's he's one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. He makes a very convincing argument as to why he's the greatest. But yeah, in terms of competitive, I think he's gonna beat him again.
I'll be on high alert too because I'm expecting something crazy to happen again. But is this the first, other than KSI and Logan Paul, is this the first time there's ever been like a rematch in an exhibition fight, in an exhibition boxing match?
Hey, good point.
I can't think of any other rematches for exhibition fights.
Tyron Woodley.
Maybe
Jake
one of this
Paul.
size.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, no,
Tyler.
but that was an exhibition. That was a pro fight.
It was, yeah. So they count on the record.
Yeah.
So
Listen.
Which one? Oh, Woodley. Yeah.
Woodley and Paul.
which I lost money on again. Man, Woodley let me down twice. Hey, shout out Woodley, but man, you can't box. Holy shit, that guy lost me money. When I bring up his name, I get it's sweet and sour because I like the guy. He's a really nice guy.
You met him in the office a couple times.
I've met him many times.
Yeah.
He follows me on
I met him in the office a couple times.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, but he lost me money. But listen, Floyd Mayweather back, Super Bowl weekend. It's gonna be sick. I'm very excited for it, and I think the Gotti family somehow still has power. How'd they pull off this rematch? Floyd didn't have to give it to him. How did the Gotti family get the rematch? You think?
Well, we still got that name. I just watched a Gotti documentary the other day, and you got that show Growing Up Gotti that was around 15 years ago. So there's still a name behind the Gottis for sure. You know, I don't want no smoke with no Gotti.
Me neither.
Whoever that Gotti. Who was that Gotti impersonator we were with in New York? Cap's best friend out
guy.
there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have nothing but good things to say about the Gotti family personally.
Hey, if that guy's watching too, all respects.
All respect. Yeah, all respect. I don't want no smoke to no
I don't want to smoke with
anyway.
no mafia. I'm not even talking about the Gotti. I'm talking about the other guy we met in the bar. Me and Robby.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah,
I'm talking about both.
No beef with
Even
that
if his story's half true, I don't want to. We're good.
Yeah.
Hit me up. I'll send you Robby's address.
Yeah.
But, all right, cool. Well, listen. You guys take it away if you want. I actually got to run. I'm going to go meet Floyd for a basketball game. It's Lakers. They're playing. Who are they playing tonight? The Jazz? Lakers Jazz here in Los Angeles. For our fans and viewers who don't know, we shoot here live in Koreatown at a studio. So I'm going to shoot up the street here to catch the game.
If we want any more,
if
we want any more like comparisons for how the PFL and the UFC work, how the PFL is like the minor leagues for the UFC, it's sort of like how the Clippers are sort of like, we'll never run LA. It's always going to be a Lakers town, right, Cap?
Listen, that joke doesn't hit with Robby. Robby's just looking at you like, bro, why are you even talking about the Clippers? Listen,
I know they.
Listen,
I'm a Laker fan. He's a Clipper fan. That's all you need to know. About
for the viewers,
Cap's a hater.
Yeah.
You've seen our Floyd Mayweather basketball footage before. You've seen it when he gifted the waitress. What was it? How much would he gift her? Or
gave her a Rolex that was worth like we actually don't know how much it was worth, but it was her
at least $50,000.
She'd been basically serving courtside for a long time, and she'd been serving him for a long time.
You see all our Floyd courtside footage when you're sitting with Ryan Garcia.
Hey Cap, real quick, how was Formula One?
It was all right.
Was it a mess? I heard that whole thing was like a mess.
The whole thing was a mess. But I'll go back. But watching it right there where I was watching it, I was in the Paddock Lounge. My ticket was like $40,000. I didn't pay for it for you viewers.
Flex.
I'm not paying $40,000 for a ticket. It was cool. The experience was cool. I didn't really see the names that were supposed to be there. It was all right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was cool.
The Bruce Buffer thing was funny. He did like he tried to hype one of the drivers up, and they had no idea how to react.
Let's get ready to drive.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Andrew. This is my boy right here. You disrespect him, you're disrespecting me.
Inside fighting, shout out to inside fighting.